Hey! Tour is 1 month away. You can get 20% off using my code NASTY. That is NASTY for 20% off. Jake and I are so excited for tour. We're excited to meet you. We're excited for the actual show itself. You guys are in for a treat. Can't wait to see you there. Code NASTY. She's so happy. She's like, this is the best video you could have ever done. In bed? Are you kidding? Oh my god, I am so America coded. I have this little Miffy that I was given as a gift from my best friend Kaylee. Her literally dressed up with like a red bonnet and like this blue cute little dress, and I love her dearly, and I was like, this is the energy that I'm going into I think 2024, and then here I am in 2025, and that's exactly still the energy that I'm giving. And I took it way too seriously and I took it way too far, but I just love her so much. Is she my background? She might. She's my background. Hold on. I want to delete the video that I was watching on YouTube because it's embarrassing, because everyone's gonna be like, you're obsessed. That's her. Like, that's me. I've never done a video. Oh my god, look, gang's all here. Oh my god. How lucky am I? Before we get into today's video, let's talk about today's sponsor. Thank you so much, Roadway Moving, for sponsoring today's video. This video I am giving you guys an update about why I moved so soon after just literally moving to New York City. Literally after only being in my apartment for about a month. This video is the tell-all, okay? But Roadway Moving truly saved the day. They helped me with my first move, if you guys remember, and they made it such a breeze moving from Philadelphia to New York. I was so stressed out about how it was gonna go. My first time moving, I did not use Roadway Movers, and I had some things break, I had some things be damaged. When I moved to New York, all of my things were taken care of so beautifully, with so much care. Every single mover I worked with was so incredibly kind and nice to me, and that same standard applies to when I moved from my first New York apartment to my second New York apartment. All my items were taken care of so well. Everybody was so kind to me. There was so much consideration going into the entire move, and I felt truly taken care of, and like I was already going through a stressful situation, and having Roadway Movers to be able to help me out with that made the entire process so much better. I cannot emphasize that enough. I know from here on out, any other moves that I have in the future, hopefully they are not anytime soon, I will be using Roadway Movers, and I cannot recommend them enough to literally everyone. Having the peace of mind of knowing that Roadway Movers has me covered makes me not as scared for future moves, genuinely. And I literally didn't even have to lift a finger. Like, I felt so useless, literally standing in the corner, had nothing to do because they took care of all of it for me. If you guys are planning on moving soon, you can use my code Rafiee10. I will also have a link in my description that you can use to save some money on your next move. And you can see for yourself how much Roadway Moving will save you from so much stress, so much anxiety, and I cannot thank them enough for literally saving the day in this situation, seriously. Thank you so much, Roadway Moving. I thought I'd do a pretty chill video today because I am doing a big catch-up video. I thought of many different ways, like how can I film this video where it's like me doing something, because I find that that's probably the most interesting to watch if somebody is doing something while they're talking about their own life, because who gives a shit anymore, you know? Realistically, how many times can I actually do my makeup for a video? I mean, I could keep doing it. Trying something new out, okay? This reminds me of the time that Emma Chamberlain made the video about where she talks about how she met God because she had like really good genes. Anyway, I'm in bed. Life update. I'm like the grandparents from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, first of all, a few things. I did cut off all my hair, okay? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Although it is weird to do something like with my appearance, because it feels like now on the internet it seems like, I don't know, everybody like weighs in and gives their opinion. Like when I did post that I cut my hair, like a bunch of people were like, no, don't do that. And I know people are like well-intentioned and they just like me with long hair or whatever the case may be. It still does feel weird, and it definitely like does fuck with your psyche a little bit, because I think to myself like, oh no, am I less desirable without long hair, or like will people stop liking me as much? And also because it is like a huge point of insecurity. I have been stressed. Whoa, spoiler alert. There's a few things that happen when I am very stressed, which to most people, like, you know, they do these things, but like I very much so do these things. I don't sleep. Sometimes I really struggle with eating. And also on top of that, I will lose hair. And so I have been saying to people for many years now, guys, I think I'm bald. I think I'm bald. I think I'm balding. I think I'm bald. I'm losing hair. And nobody really believes me. And that's fine. That's fine. I have just come to terms with like, not everybody has to believe me. I know myself. and you know your own body, and you know when you're losing hair and when something's going on, you're like, yeah, something is happening, something is going on. And so I am very, very aware of that. And so the longer my hair got, like, I loved having long hair so much, and I never ever, like, hair is not that big of a deal to me. Like, it is in a way, but not as much as it is to some other people. I know some people who get like trims, and it's like a very, very big deal for them, especially if they lose too many inches or whatever. But for me, I am just kind of like, okay, you know, I'll deal with it. Like, if I lose my hair, I'll deal with it. If I cut my hair off, I'll deal with it. Like, it'll be fine. And I've had short hair before, and I thought it was very cute, and I wanted to cut off all my hair, but the longer that it got, unfortunately, the thinner that it became, and it became more obvious. And like, nobody pointed that out to me except myself, and I noticed it constantly, and to like have to watch myself on camera all the time, that was something that really bothered me a lot. And so this is kind of like a fresh start for me. Like, I've had short hair before, like especially like during COVID, my mom would cut my hair like in the kitchen with kitchen scissors, whatever. I thought it was cute, I thought it was nice, whatever. I just kind of want to start fresh. I am trying like 1,000,001 recommendations on trying to grow my hair back, and scalp health and everything, like all the things that you are recommended to try. Believe me, I have tried them. And I know no other people are going to be realizing like how, I don't know, the insecurity of it, but like, I started spraying on, I got the tip from fucking Brittany Broski, like to spray root spray, like for people who have grays, and you can get this spray that you spray onto your roots to, you know, make it look like you just dyed your hair, even if you didn't, if you have your grays growing back in. I got that, I got brown. A lot of my past videos, especially the ones where like the lights were super harsh, I'm doing like the chronically online girl, that shit's packed on. Like, hairline gone. Why? Like no fucking part, because I just blacked it out, because I was so insecure about that. I don't know. I'm on a health hair journey of sorts. Just know, if you're gonna leave a fucking comment about how I look, and you know, I can sit here all I want and be like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. It does, because like, I promise you, if like you guys notice something, I notice it first. I don't need to be told or reminded about it. If you hate the new hair, if you hate the bob, I like the fuck ass bob. I still struggle with styling it, to be honest. I wish it was a bit longer. That's on me. That has nothing to do with my hairdresser. She's absolutely amazing. It's literally, it's on me. On me, it's on me, on me, on me. I think they say that in Fortnite. I think so. All my friends play Fortnite except me, because I started playing Fortnite. It gave me anxiety. Like, I was like, why is my heart rate rising? See, look, she's like a fucking emotional support animal. Yes, you are beautiful. She missed me because I was away for a few days. I went to a cabin for the long weekend, and it was so fun, but I rotted severely, and I didn't do anything while I was there, which is another thing that like I'll get into. This is all intertwined, okay? I promise this is all coming together. I have been dealing with like severe exhaustion. You may have seen my story that I posted on my Instagram. I've been dealing with some like severe exhaustion about like 2 weeks before my period, leading up right to my period. And I've talked about it before, about premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD, and I've had several doctors suggest that I probably have it, but like I have never gotten like a stamp of approval, because there's no test to prove that you have it or not. And so I just, you know, not that I take it with a grain of salt, but like sometimes I feel great. Sometimes I have like amazing months and I'm doing super good. Most of the time I'm not doing good. 2 weeks before my period, I'm like really struggling mentally. I'm really struggling physically. And then I get my period, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so dramatic. I'm literally like the most dramatic person alive. And I like gaslight myself basically into being like, see, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. Like you were completely fine. You're just being dramatic. It definitely probably has something to do with, you know, OCD as well. Because my OCD becomes like very, very rampant leading up to my period. It sucks. It's all intertwined. It's all connected. Your body is like literally, your body and mind, all fucking connected. I wish I could do Severance, but on my body. That would be really nice. I did binge all of Severance. It's very good. I do really love it. With that being said, I have been having like the worst fatigue for like the last few months. I'm not talking about like, oh, woe is me, I am so tired. It is severe fatigue that like I really feel like I got drugged. I don't know how else to put it. I feel like I got pumped with Benadryl. I feel like I will like go to a workout class or something and genuinely feel like I have been ran over by a semi-truck. Like, I feel like something is so severely wrong. No amount of caffeine can help me. Not at all in that time. A lot of time caffeine affects me terribly, but like during that time, I can drink like pre-workout and I will fall asleep. And it sucks because I have stuff to do and I can't just, the 2 weeks before my period, I can't just like be like, okay, like, all right, I'm out of commission. It's kind of like what it's been like low-key, which has been really difficult, so I'm like trying to take it easy on myself. Went for a long weekend for Valentine's Day to a cabin, which was very nice, but I just rotted the whole time. Just watched Severance, New Yellow Jackets, and White Lotus. That's it, and did a puzzle, and it was a great time. I had an amazing time. But that is what I did. All of that to be said, I posted that on my story, and a bunch of people were like, oh my god, Nicole, like, sounds like PMDD to me, or sounds like endometriosis. Reproductive health issues run in my family, okay? Like, the women in my family have had reproductive health issues. I've had ovarian cysts since I was like 12 years old. I'm exhausted having to go to a doctor and like advocating for myself. I'm exhausted by the thought of maybe having to go through like a procedure to find out if I do or don't have something, and then how deeply embarrassed I will be if nothing comes back, because that's exactly how I felt when I did my fucking colonoscopy. They're like, well, it looks fine, like it's irritated, but you're all right, I guess. Point is that I'm so tired of just like always dealing with my health. I'm so tired of just like that always being at the forefront. I'm tired of it always doing poorly when I'm struggling. Because granted, like, yes, I knew that this was going to happen. I had like some really stressful events happen at the end of 2024. And I knew for a fact, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to reap the consequences of this mentally and physically at the start of the new year. I just know it. And that's exactly what is happening now. I'm just like reaping what I have sown, even though like the things that I have sown, I did not actually sow. Like, they're just like life circumstances and there are things happening to other people that affect me. Anyway, which brings me to me moving. This is my second apartment now in New York City. I have moved a month and a half after I moved into my new apartment in New York, which is like really crazy to think about. I actually can't believe that I did that before. It's very, very weird to think about the entire thing. Let's break it down. Shout out to Roadway Movers, genuinely, because they like saved my ass. Seriously. So my lease did not end until February in Philadelphia. And I was looking at apartments and I was getting kind of freaked out about finding an apartment because so many people were like, finding an apartment in New York is so scary. Finding an apartment in New York is crazy. Like, it's like a full-time sport. Like, you might as well just like be renting out an Airbnb during that time so you can find the apartment, because you're gonna be having to tour like 6 apartments in a day. Freaking me out. Obviously freaking me out, because that's like not, that's a lot. I was doing a lot of street easy searching at the time leading up. I kept telling myself, all right, I'm gonna stop doing it. Like, I looked in the summer, even though it was like way before lease had ended in Philadelphia. But I was like, let me take a look. Let me see what is happening. Let me see what the market looks like. There wasn't anything that I like really loved that was like in my criteria in the neighborhood that I wanted to be in. I didn't find the one. And I was starting to get a little bit worried, to be completely honest. I knew that my standards for finding an apartment in New York were high. I knew that, okay? I know like the whole thing about like, well, if you want to have a fucking dishwasher and you want to have a washer dryer, and if you want to have a bedroom, and if you want to have natural sunlight, and if you want to have peace and quiet, like, you can't have all those things. Like, good luck. I knew that. I knew that going, and you're gonna pay more than you ever have before. I knew that. I knew that going into New York. I knew that very much so. I was moving to be closer to my loved ones. I was moving to be closer to family. I was moving for a multitude of reasons, for work. I knew all these things, and I was like, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to take. So the first apartment that I see that slightly catches my interest, that looks like an apartment that I could see myself living in, a space in which I could see myself habitating in, I was like, oh, I need to jump on it immediately, because everybody told me that if I don't jump on it, I'm never gonna find a place ever again. And that apartments go like this, and like the second that they're up on Street Easy, they basically get rented out. So I might as well just do everything as fast as humanly possible. Humanly, as fast as humanly possible. She thinks I'm talking to her the entire time, which I kind of am. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can with this apartment and go forward with it. The timing is kind of right for other circumstances in my life that maybe one day I'll talk about on here, maybe not, I don't know. External personal factors. Timing's right. I should move. I don't know if I should move. I think I should move. The apartment's like, I just kept going back and forth. Anyway, pushed myself. I got this apartment. I was excited. It was starting to get really, really lonely in Philly. I don't know if you guys knew this, because I didn't vlog. I don't vlog really my days, and I don't really vlog in when I lived in Philly, but that's because like I was alone like 90% of the time that I lived in Philly. After Jake moved, I mean, I was alone. Most of my friends had normal 9-to-5 jobs and like lived with their significant others, and I was in a weird situation where I like lived alone, away from my significant other and away from like all my friends, and so I was very alone. I was very lonely. Go home like every single weekend to go visit my mom, where I would go to New York to visit my friends and my boyfriend. And so I was eager to move to New York. I was like, you know what? This is a really, really stressful time for me, and maybe this is not a great time, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try. I get this apartment, but not without some hiccups already. I should have known that these hiccups were big enough hiccups, but whatever. I had to work with a broker, a fucking broker, which everybody who has ever moved to New York, if you don't, then God bless, but a broker, basically like you pay for somebody, which this is apparently going to get outlawed soon in like New York, and like the landlord is going to pay for this, but it's basically like a realtor showing you an apartment, and like they're the ones showing you this space in this area. So you have to pay this massive fee, which is sometimes like about like 10% of your annual rent. It depends on the company and how much it is. But anyway, so I'm working with a broker because at the time everything had to be done through a broker, whereas now things are a little bit different. Things have changed in the few months. And so I'm working with this broker. I find this apartment. I'm like, cool. It's like under my budget that I wanted to spend. Has what I want, has what I needed. Doesn't have everything that I want, but also that's like to be expected. I think I can make this work. I think I can make this really work. And it's one huge, large space, huge studio, which I think is going to be really, really good for me. Like I just, I like all my furniture, and I think it would be nice to have it all out there. That was the mentality that I had like going into this all. Okay. I was optimistic. They tell me over and over again, like, oh, your application should be no issue. You'll hear back so soon. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And one day, Jake and I were filming the podcast. What were we dressed up as? We were dressed as something stupid, I can tell you that. I will try and find photos of what we were dressed up as. But during the recording of the podcast, the broker calls me and is like, oh my God, Clementine, you're shutting like crazy. You're like me. You're like mommy. During the podcast, they called me and they're like, oh yeah, so unfortunately we can't go through with your application because the landlord saw how like interested you were in the apartment and also brought in another broker. They think that he should raise the rent $1,000. Yeah, $1,000. And so he thinks that he should raise the rent by $1,000. And so unfortunately, like your application, we're just gonna have to pass on it and we're opening it back up to the public. And I was sad. I was really sad because I was like, oh, close to being done. And I was like getting ready and it just sucked. But I was like, okay, I guess it just like didn't work out. I was like, I'm not willing to pay $1,000 more, whatever. Of course, I put my phone back on Do Not Disturb, continue on with the podcast. After the podcast, I have like 18 missed calls from the broker. And the broker is calling me back and they're like, we fought and we got him to stay the original price. So you're good now. You're good. Like your application can go in. Take a lesson from my book, okay? Fucking New York will try and bleed you from your money. I did not realize this. I knew to a certain extent, didn't know how bad. I thought, wow, they care about me so much that they just keep calling over and over again to tell me that I can keep this apartment for the rent that I had. I can sign the lease tonight, $1,000 less than what they wanted to raise it. I was like, damn, I kind of got a steal. Like, good for me. Like, I'm so happy. That's why they kept calling me wrong. I said to them, because I was already just so like bummed out about the apartment, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to pass on this. They're like, that's fine. We will be keeping your deposit though. Basically, you put in a deposit when you put in your application, when you're serious about it. If you don't get accepted, they refund it. If you do get accepted, it goes towards your rent. Now, if you get accepted and you deny it, they still also keep your what is it called? Down payment? These are not words meant to be said in bed. Like literally, I should not be in bed saying these words. My God. The reason that they kept calling me 1,000 times was because if I had said no, I don't want it anymore, they can keep my deposit. But because had I not called them back, been like, okay, sucks, I'm not getting this apartment, I would have probably gotten my deposit back. I could have just gone through the process of like the website or whatever that they had sent me to like request my deposit back. Like everything would have worked out. Well, so I'm on the phone with them and I'm like, all right, well, no, I don't really want the apartment. They're like, fine, then we're keeping your deposit. And I was like, I'm confused. And they're like, well, you're approved. You're technically approved now. So you should get your deposit. Like we're keeping your deposit. Me not knowing how to stand up for myself yet, especially to a man. I'm still working on it. I'm still fucking working on it. I'm getting a lot better at it. Not knowing how to stand up for myself, or, you know, even in that moment being like, you know what, a loss is a loss. All right, fine. I'll move into this apartment. Even though I already have a bad taste in my mouth, even though the landlord's kind of freaking me out because he already wanted to raise my rent $1,000, even though you guys are being fucking wishy-washy, I'll move in. I'll move into this apartment. And so about like 2 weeks later, pack up all my shit and I go and move. Great. Awesome. I'm so excited to be in New York. Welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you, whatever. And so I'm with, you know, my boyfriend. I'm with all my friends. I feel happy, except I just feel like something's wrong. I just keep feeling this wrongness feeling, and I keep crying about it all the time, and I don't know what's wrong, and I cry about it to Adam very often. I cry about it because I'm like, I should be so happy that I'm here, but I just don't feel at home. I don't feel like this is my home. I don't feel like this is my space, and that was really, really hard for me to grasp. Yeah. Even though I was with them, I was like the cats, I still felt like, oh my God, I do not feel like myself. I do not feel at home. So, okay, whatever. What? Oh my God. He's nice all the time. I cry about this to Adam very often. I'm like, I feel so guilty. I feel so much shame, which is like something that I know very much so in tune with myself with my OCD. I'm like, I can't tell if I'm having an episode. I can't tell if this is OCD, but I just don't feel right. I don't feel at home. This does not feel right where I am currently. This is not it. A lot was happening all at once, and granted, everything moved way too fast. I look back in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have done everything so quickly. I should not have moved as quickly as I did. I should not have, you know, broken my lease. I should not have left when I did because of the first opportunity or the first apartment I saw that I really liked. I should have thought about it more. I shouldn't have moved when like a really tumultuous situation was happening in my personal life. I shouldn't have done all those things. Additionally, oh no, Nicole, you're in OCD therapy. I can't do my OCD therapy that I like with the therapist that I was with for like 2 years because she can't be my therapist in New York City because she's my therapist in Pennsylvania and she's only licensed there. She was nice enough to still see me for a while after that and to help me out after that. However, it was way too much all at once. Like looking back, I'm like, girl, what the fuck were you doing? Like what was the rush? What was the rush? Actually, what was it? I struggled being in the apartment big time. I was like sleeping until like 1-2 p.m. a lot of days, like not getting out of bed. Being in a studio was really difficult for me because everything was everywhere. Like my bedroom was in my living room and my kitchen was in my bedroom and my workspace was, you know, right next to me at the desk next to my bed. And like, I realized how insanely privileged all of this sounds. Like you have an apartment in New York. You have a beautiful, huge studio in New York. You should be so happy and so grateful. Believe me, I was. And that is part of the reason why I hated myself so bad and why I was awfully like depressed during that time was because I felt, how could I be upset and how could I not be happy when I'm in such like an amazing situation? Like it was so, it was extremely conflicting for me and it made me like really resent myself a lot. I cried a lot. I cried about it a lot. I like filmed like one video in that apartment, I think. Like literally, I struggled so bad. It was really hard to do the podcast. And they're like, I didn't want to do anything in that apartment. And I decorated it fully. I was done decorating my apartment. I was done unpacking like within a week. Like I was like, I should feel at home. All my stuff is here. But I would like lay in bed, you know, would be in bed very, very often. And somebody would like try and open the door to my apartment, like jingle the door handle for quite a long time. And I like didn't even care. Like I did not even care that somebody potentially was like attempting to break in, was maybe at the wrong part. I just didn't care. Like normally something that would scare me so bad, did not care anymore. I was just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. That's when I started to be like worried. Anyway, went home for Christmas, went home for like a week, which my mom was so excited about. She was like, oh my God, you're going home for a week. Like that's everything. Went home for a week, had a great time. I felt so reset. I felt so recharged. I finally got some sleep because I could not sleep in that apartment. As much as I spent time in bed, I was not sleeping actually through the night. And I got home, felt well rested, really felt like I got all my fucking eggs in a basket, whatever, eggs in a row, I don't know, doesn't matter. I feel like I finally did all those things and I came and I dropped off Adam and Jake at their apartment when the realization that I had to drop them off at their apartment and that the next destination was my apartment, I started panicking and I started crying and I went on Street Easy immediately and I was looking up apartments as I was like parked, because I was like, I don't want to go back in there. I have no desire to go back in there. And usually like with home, that's like a space where you're excited to be and like where you're excited to come back to, especially like with my cats, with all my things. Like home is important. Home is where I want to be. Pick me up and turn me around, right? Okay, as David Byrne said. I think that's part of the reason why I love the Talking Heads so much, is because they have so many songs about being like, home, what is home? City, I need to find a city that I will live in. What is the fucking city? This is my apartment. This is the best apartment ever. My friends are gonna come visit me and they're gonna take the highway to come and see. Like, really do love the Talking Heads for that, for their whole, you know, deal on domesticity. Yeah, I like their take on domesticity, whatever. I got home that night, I hated it, hated myself, hated where I was living, hated everything. Additionally, on top of that, my apartment reeked like cigarettes. It smelled like cigarettes so bad in my apartment, and I would send in emails into my management building. Okay, so the funniest thing was I emailed them. I was like, hey, so it's like 2 a.m. at this point. It smells really bad like cigarette and it's like seeping into my apartment. I can't tell like what apartment it's coming from. I don't know what's happening, but like it really, really reeks. It might be one of the vents of one of the apartments that's connected to mine, because I don't smell in the hallway. They don't answer for 3 days and just respond, no, it doesn't. What the fuck do you mean, no, it doesn't? So then the smoking starts to be like a daily issue, because it was snowing and raining a lot. And it was like literally like 10 degrees outside. So nobody wanted to go outside and smoke cigarettes. And so my apartment started reeking every single night. My clothes in my closet, especially the worst. And oh, this is so sad. Clementine started smelling like cigarettes. And so this is when I was like, God fucking damn it. Holy shit. The vibes really are not good. Like I had this gut feeling that something wasn't right, but really, and I'm trying to not, you know, give into the whole gut feeling thing because of, you know, OCD, and trying not to give into my OCD constantly, but I was not taking it seriously that this wasn't the right place for me, and that I didn't feel right, and that I didn't feel like myself, and I didn't feel at home. So I think the apartment was just like, oh, you don't believe me? Like, I'll give you like real signs that this is not the place for you. And I know what it's like living in a city. I absolutely do understand that. However, living in an apartment where it smells like cigarettes, not a thing that should be happening. There's like rules in place, especially when you live in an apartment building, and it says in your lease, you can't fucking smoke cigarettes in here. So as a bitch with asthma, I have like the stupid little pin at like the bottom of my video, like somewhere here, like my stupid bedazzled inhaler. I literally bedazzle my inhaler on this channel. I have asthma, okay? I started not feeling well. Everything was happening all at once. My mental health was shit. Something really bad was happening in my personal life. I just moved. I'm under a lot of stress. My hair's falling out. I feel severe fatigue before my period. My OCD is rampant. My therapist just left me because she had to leave me. She tried to help for a little while, and then she said that I graduated. Yay me. It was a lot at once. I keep reaching out to my management of my building, being like, hey, this is a consistent issue, and you guys like haven't even asked to like come into my apartment to see like when it does smell like cigarettes, nor do you guys like respond in a timely manner. You guys take like days to respond. Every time they just respond, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't smell like cigarettes. No, it doesn't. My final straw. This was my actual final straw. This was really the final straw. I'm like remembering things as I go because I block this time out of my head. I wake up in the middle of the night because Cowboy is having an asthma attack. Cowboy has had asthma attacks before. Last summer, he had really bad asthma attacks, and I didn't know what was happening to him, and I had to get him like a rescue inhaler and like the little cat breathing thing. It was some of the scariest of my life. If you've never heard a cat have like an asthma attack and like coughing, it is so scary. It is so sad. There were so many days that I did not sleep in the summer because I would just wake up checking to see if he was breathing okay. I would have to steam him, give him his inhaler, give him allergy medication, anyway, take him to the vet. It was a whole ordeal. He has not had that issue since last summer. So for him to start having asthma attacks when the cigarette smoking started again, I'm like, duh, absolute duh. So he starts having that. Then Clementine starts having that. I'm sitting there, it's 3 a.m. I'm like crying and giving them their fucking inhaler pump. And it's like such a sad, I'll insert a picture of what it like looks like, the inhaler pump itself. It's a rough time. And I was like, this is my last straw. This is actually my last straw. They're not taking me seriously. They're not doing anything to address the issue. They're not even believing me that it's happening. I need to go tour another apartment and I need to figure this out fast because I just need to get out of here. That's that. This is no longer even like a me trying to fight with OCD thing. Like, this is now like a health and safety thing. Like, I need to leave. I don't feel good. The cats don't feel good. I need to go. And so I tour another apartment. Okay, so when you tour another apartment, you have to give the current apartment that you're in as a reference so that they can talk to your landlord. Like, does this bitch pay rent on time? Whatever. I do that, obviously, because I'm very serious about wanting to move out. I would like to move to this new apartment. And I say to them, I'm like, cigarette smoking is a huge issue. Please tell me how you guys address it here. And they like tell me, they give me the protocols and everything. And they're like, we take it very seriously. I'm like, cool. All right. I can see myself living here. All right, let's do this. I then put my foot down. I send a very nice but stern message to my management building of my building. And I'm like, so I'm leaving. I cannot live here any longer. This is now a health and safety issue. You guys are breaking the lease. You guys are literally not following what you said in the lease about how you take smoking policy seriously because you are just responding with, no, it does not, when I tell you that it smells like cigarette smoke here. And I will be leaving by this day. In which they tell me, just sounds like you're trying to get out of your lease and you're giving this cigarette smoking as an issue because you already tried to tour other apartments, insinuating, basically saying that I am using the cigarette smoking thing to get out of my lease because maybe I just don't fuck with the apartment, to help me get out of my lease so that I can move somewhere else. And I was like, so here's the receipts. Here's the date that I first complained about the cigarette smoking. Here's all the other dates that I complained about the cigarette smoking. This is the date that I started touring apartments because why would I put up with this if nobody is going to do anything about it? Sorry, maybe the RA in me, maybe the resident assistant in me from college came out, but I'm like, I'm not fucking dealing with the cigarette smoking. I'm not dealing with it. I cannot deal with it. Anyway, but I was like amicable. I was like, this is going to be my last day. I am skedaddling out of here. I am leaving. I check in with 311. I do my research, okay? I advise lawyers that are not actually like lawyers for apartment buildings or even in the state, but I advise them, okay? The thing with my management company, they were like, fine, leave, like you can leave. However, you are paying rent until we find a new tenant. So I said I should not have to do that because I'm not leaving on my own accord. I'm not leaving on my own. I'm leaving because I have to. They call me and they send an email at the same time and they're like, hey, so like, you know, we got your thing. We're asking that you surrender your keys by this day. This is why I kept telling you guys I'm not making this video until I get my security deposit back, because I was like, I'm not gonna make a video about this and then some management company is gonna watch this video and then be like, we're withholding. I don't know. I just didn't want to deal with it. But that's why this video was a few months coming. Also, I just didn't want to talk about it because so they're calling me. I'm in bed because I was always in bed at this fucking apartment because I was depressed. Yeah, so like you can leave, that's fine. But the day that you move out, the 11th, 11, oh my God, what a significant number. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing all that again. When you move out, you have to surrender your keys, put them in the envelope, and please don't trash the place. Like, please leave it clean and pristine. First of all, why would I trash the place? Just let me go. Just let me go. But they were very scared that I was gonna trash the place. So that's why I did take videos of me like cleaning my apartment and like vacuuming and showing it after and being like, look, I did not trash the place, whatever. And I was like, great. So when I surrender my keys, that means that I am no longer responsible for the rent until a new tenant comes, right? I'm no longer responsible for the rent after that day. And she sighs on the phone and laughs. And this is the best way that I can impersonate what she said to me. But she goes, Nicole, you said that you would leave. So just leave, please. I like was in awe. I did not know what to say in that moment. I was like, no, I need to know what I'm signing up for. I need to know what contract I am signing. And I told her, I said, no, I need to know like what I am signing, obviously. Am I responsible for rent after this date? Whether I leave or not, like I said I'm gonna leave, so I'm gonna leave. But I need to know, am I responsible for rent after this date before I sign some fucking paper? And she sighs and she goes, we will take care of it. And she insists that I sign that lease right then and there because it was the end of her work day. I think she sent it to me at like 3:55 and she was like, I'm clocking out in 5 minutes, please send it like right away. And I was very proud of myself because I was like, I need in writing from you in an email saying you are no longer held responsible for rent after the 11th. I insisted upon it, did not sign that document that day, got it in writing the next day. Then I finally signed it, got my ass out of there, hit up Roadway Moving. I was like, hey guys, I know you guys were just at my apartment like literally like a month and a half ago, but I really need your help because I need help moving. Please. My friends were so awesome, helped me so much. Roadway Moving, so sweet, so perfect, so kind. Highly recommend them, genuinely. Love all my friends for like helping me and being there for me along the move and everything, and my family. And that is a story of why I left that place. My tummy hurt really bad after that for a while. My tummy hurt really fucking bad. On top of that, I was sick, more sick than I've ever been. I lost my voice. I have never lost my voice like that, ever. Like not even a peep could come out.
Not joking. This is me trying.
So at least now I am in a new, safe, comfortable environment that does not smell like cigarette smoke. And you know what? Maybe I still am going bald. And you know what? Maybe I still am stressed the fuck out. And you know what? Maybe my tummy still does really fucking hurt and something's up with it. But I feel at peace finally, like where I am, which was like such a huge thing. Cause like, if you don't feel safe in like your home, it's not gonna work. You guys have been around with me for a while, but if you haven't, you guys don't know, in college, I was an RA and I lived alone, which was like an amazing experience. And I wanted to do that so badly because I had a not so great experience with a roommate. I had a roommate the next year and that wasn't so great and I didn't feel safe in my home. As a person who like grew up in a household witnessing domestic abuse, home means a lot to me, okay? Home means so much to me, and like where I am means the world to me because it's like really the one place where you should feel safe. Like at the end of the day, you should feel safe where you are. I didn't understand why any of these scenarios in which I was so stressed out in my home, like crappy roommates, or for example, like cigarette smoking and management being really mean to me. I didn't understand why these situations made me so uncomfortable, but I realize now that it is just because it reminds me too much of like that uncertainty and uncomfortableness of me being a kid and like not feeling like I have that safe place to turn to. And so now that I finally have that, it is such a relief. It is such a fucking relief. I think also another reason why it took me like a while to like talk about this and feel comfortable sharing it or whatever was because I was so ashamed and embarrassed that like this was something that mattered so much to me, and I felt that I was edging into privileged YouTuber territory where it's like, oh, of course this bitch wants a home that she feels safe in. Oh, she's so fucking annoying. And so I had to get over that myself and be like, yeah, so does every other person would also like that and enjoy that. And so I'm very happy that I made that leap, and I'm trying to be a lot more better with how I, you know, putting my foot down and making decisions and actually thinking them through a bit more before I say yes to just anything just to make other people comfortable. I feel like I'm really working on that. New York is teaching me to do that because I have since yelled with 2 men since being here, completely unrelated. Not actually yell, it's literally just like a civil dispute, and I, in my head, I'm like, oh, we're fighting. Oh, this is fighting words. They were mean. I was nice. It doesn't matter. New York is chewing me up and spitting me out and kicking me and twisting my arm, and I'm having a really good time. Anyway, I just wanted to explain to you guys all why I'm bald, why I move places and apartments, why I look like a bloated Gracie Abrams. I did see that fucking comment, fuck you. Trying to get my uterus under control, seeing what that's all about, you know? If I do end up doing any procedures anytime soon to my uterus, I will take you guys along with me. I will take you guys along with me to my hysterectomy surgery. Chronically Online Girl explains Nicole Rafiee's uterus lore. I could do a whole video like Chronically Online Girl explains Nicole Rafiee's health. That was nice to talk to you guys all. Sorry if it wasn't super entertaining, but I wanted to explain the story to you guys for a little while. I don't know when I'll do an apartment tour in this apartment, if or when or what that looks like, because obviously like safety comes first. I'm not pulling another best dress right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Clementine thanks you too. Chicken ghosts, yes. I lived in an old feather factory. My mistake. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have lived in a feather factory. I don't know the atrocities that occurred in there. However, ghosts are real. During the podcast recording, I think the very last podcast recording ever in that apartment, there is a ghost that is heard on the podcast. Like Jake and I cannot explain that audio whatsoever, and that really freaked us out.
And actually it's you and Adam holding hands, so they know that it's talking about you. Anyway, Oh, I saw someone be like, wow, it's such a great season to be a...
Is there maybe a logical reason for all of it? Maybe. I don't care. I like to think that it's the dead chickens from that building communicating through us through our podcast equipment and trying to get us to stop. Jake and I do start tour in a few weeks, which is so exciting. You can get tour tickets at NicoleRafiee.com. You can also listen to our podcast that comes out every other Monday, and also on all the off Mondays on our Patreon. Make sure that you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also, make sure I have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you're gross. Make sure to leave this video a like, also a comment if you had any bad apartment broker stories. I would like to hear them to make me feel a little bit better, okay? I'm just a girl and I'm going through life for the very first time, so please have some grace upon me. Thank you very much. If you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Depop, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee, and if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now. I'm getting coffee with a friend who I've never met. Look at me. Maybe I'm being social. I'm trying new things. If I'm gonna be a bloated Grace Abrams, I need to make sure that the bob is okay. So, okay. Bye-bye. Love you. Thanks for listening to me. Bye.